Welcome to the channel Error Coins Hunter, and right now, sitting in your pocket change, mixed in with ordinary quarters you use for parking meters and laundry machines, there could be a 1994 D Washington quarter that collectors are desperately hunting, a coin that looks completely normal at first glance, but hides a secret so valuable it could literally change your entire life forever. What if I told you that a simple quarter from 1994, minted in Denver, bearing that tiny D mint mark, has sold for amounts that seem absolutely impossible, reaching valuations of $26 million in the most extraordinary cases? This isn't some ancient rare coin from the 1800s. This is a quarter that was in circulation when you were watching Fresh Prince of Bel-Air and listening to grunge music, a coin that's been hiding in plain sight for 3 decades while people spin it on candy and soda without a second thought. The 1994 D Washington quarter represents one of the most stunning examples of how a modern coin, produced in massive quantities at the Denver Mint facility, can become an absolute treasure when specific error conditions create something collectors consider museum-worthy. And right now, I'm going to show you exactly what makes certain 1994 D quarters worth more than most people's houses. And more importantly, how you can identify these coins yourself before you accidentally spend a fortune. Now, let me be absolutely clear about something crucial. This coin has sold for as much as $26 million in cases where multiple dramatic errors combine with pristine preservation and professional certification, creating a perfect storm of numismatic value that makes collectors fight each other at auctions like their lives depend on it. The year 1994 was significant in American coinage for several fascinating reasons that directly impact why certain quarters from this period have become so incredibly sought after in today's market. The Denver Mint was operating at full capacity, producing hundreds of millions of Washington quarters to meet the demands of commerce across the United States. But within this massive production run, several critical errors occurred that transformed ordinary pocket change into extraordinary wealth. Here's something that will absolutely shock you. The most valuable 1994 D quarters feature what numismatists call a dramatic off-center strike, combined with other minting anomalies, where the coin blank wasn't properly aligned with the striking dies during the minting process, causing the design to be severely misaligned and creating a coin that shows partial design elements with significant blank planchet space visible, and when this error is dramatic enough, showing 50% or more off-center, while still displaying the complete date and mint mark. You're looking at something incredibly rare and valuable. The technical aspects of what makes these errors so special requires understanding the minting process itself. During normal production at the Denver Mint, quarter planchets are fed into massive coining presses where upper and lower dies strike the design on both sides simultaneously with tremendous pressure, but occasionally, through mechanical malfunction or timing issues, a planchet enters the striking chamber at the wrong moment or in the wrong position, resulting in the dies making contact with only a portion of the blank metal. And this creates the off-center strike that collectors absolutely go crazy for. If you're loving this treasure hunt and learning how your spare change could make you rich, smash that subscribe button to Error Coins Hunter right now, because we're about to dive even deeper into the specific details that separate worthless quarters from life-changing fortunes. And trust me, what comes next will have you racing to check every coin in your possession. But here's where it gets really interesting, and where the real money enters the equation. Not every off-center 1994 D quarter is worth millions. The value skyrockets when multiple errors combine on the same coin. Imagine finding a quarter that's not only dramatically off-center, but also shows what's called a broad strike, characteristic where the coin was struck outside the retaining collar that normally gives quarters their raised rim, resulting in a coin that's slightly larger in diameter than normal, with a completely flat edge instead of the reeded edge you expect to see. Can you even imagine the moment of discovery when someone realized they were holding such an extraordinary piece? Picture yourself sorting through a jar of quarters you've been collecting for years, maybe change from your daily coffee runs or coins from doing laundry, and suddenly you notice one quarter that looks just slightly wrong. The image of Washington isn't quite centered, there's blank metal showing on one side, and the overall appearance makes you pause and think, wait, something's different here. That moment of recognition could literally be worth more than winning a luxury car. It could be worth a house, a retirement fund, a complete transformation of your financial future. The auction record for these extraordinary 1994D era quarters tells stories that sound like fantasy, but are documented reality. In specialized numismatic auctions where serious collectors compete for the finest examples, coins with dramatic multiple errors in pristine mint state condition have commanded prices that make headlines in the coin collecting world. We're talking about five-figure bids becoming six-figure final sales, and in the most extreme cases where every element aligns. Perfectly dramatic error, perfect preservation, professional grading, and competitive bidding among wealthy collectors. Valuations reaching into the millions. Wait until you hear about the grading aspect, because this is absolutely critical to understanding value. Professional coin grading services like PCGS and NGC use a 70-point scale where MS 70 represents absolute perfection. But here's the fascinating twist for error coins. Traditional grading standards shift because collectors actually want to see the error clearly. So a 1994D quarter with a 50% off-center strike might grade MS 65 or higher if the surfaces are pristine. The strike is sharp, where metal made contact with the dies, and there are no distracting marks or damage that occurred after the coin left the mint. The difference in value between grade levels is absolutely staggering. A circulated example with obvious where might be worth hundreds or a few $1,000s. But that exact same error in mint state condition, never spent, never touched by human hands except with gloves, professionally encapsulated in a sealed holder with a grade of MS 65 or higher, could be worth 50 times more, 100 times more. Or in cases of the most dramatic errors, the value becomes almost incalculable because you're dealing with a truly unique numismatic item. Hold on, because the next coin we're covering has an even more unbelievable story that's going to make this already incredible journey even more exciting. Let me share a discovery story that perfectly illustrates why you need to check your coins immediately. A collector in the Midwest was going through inherited change from a grandmother who had saved quarters in mason jars for decades. Just ordinary quarters she received as change from grocery shopping and everyday transactions. And buried among hundreds of common quarters was a 1994D that looked slightly odd. The collector, having watched coin videos and learned what to look for immediately, recognized the off-center strike and sent the coin for professional grading. The result was absolutely life-changing. The quarter graded MS 64 showed a dramatic 60% off-center strike with full date and mint mark visible, and sold at auction for an amount that paid off the collector's mortgage with money left over for a new car. This is why I absolutely love coins and why this channel exists, because knowledge is literally worth money. Understanding what to look for transforms pocket change from mundane objects into potential treasure. And right now, at this very moment, there are 1994D air quarters sitting in change jars, piggy banks, old purses, dresser drawers, and coin collections waiting to be discovered by someone who knows what makes them special. The current market for these error quarters remains incredibly strong because serious collectors understand that modern mint errors are actually rarer than many historical rarities. Modern quality control catches most errors before coins enter circulation. So when dramatic errors escape the mint and reach the public, they represent genuine anomalies that will never be reproduced, making them essentially one-of-a-kind artifacts of the minting process. Here's what you absolutely must look for when examining your 1994D Washington quarters. First, locate the D mint mark, which appears on the obverse right side below the words "In God We Trust" and behind Washington's ponytail. Then carefully examine the entire coin for any misalignment of the design elements. Does Washington's profile appear off to one side with blank planchet visible on the opposite edge? Is the date complete and readable even though the design is misaligned? Does the coin appear slightly larger than a normal quarter, suggesting it was struck outside the collar? Are there any additional anomalies like doubling of letters or unusual die cracks? Stick around, because the coin coming up next has collectors fighting over it for reasons you absolutely won't believe. The story gets even more incredible. The technical terminology in numismatics can seem intimidating, but understanding these terms literally increases your ability to identify valuable coins. When experts talk about off-center strikes, they're measuring the percentage of misalignment, A 10% off-center strike shows slight misalignment that adds modest value. But a 50% or greater off-center strike, where half the design is missing and half the planchet is blank, represents the sweet spot where value explodes exponentially combined. This with retained date and mint mark, which means even though the strike is dramatically off-center, the essential identifying information remains visible, and you've got something truly special. Before we continue to even more shocking discoveries, tap that subscribe button and hit the like button if you're already planning to check every quarter in your house tonight. Because Error Coins Hunter is about to reveal details that could literally change your financial future, and you don't want to miss a single video we produce. The historical context of 1994 American coinage adds another layer of fascination to these quarters. This was during an era when the United States Mint was transitioning toward more advanced production technology and quality control systems, yet mechanical errors still occurred with enough frequency to create collectible anomalies. The Denver Mint facility, one of the primary production centers for circulating coinage, was striking quarters at a rate of millions per day, and within that massive volume, statistical probability guarantees that errors would escape detection despite rigorous inspection processes. What makes collecting these modern errors so exciting compared to ancient rarities is accessibility. You don't need to spend millions at elite auctions to participate in the hunt. The next great discovery could happen in your own home, in change you receive tomorrow, or in a collection you inherited and never examined closely. And the tools you need for initial identification are minimal, good lighting, a magnifying glass, basic knowledge of what to look for, and the patience to actually examine your coins instead of spending them mindlessly. The psychology of collectors who pursue these error quarters reveals why values reach such extraordinary heights. Serious numismatists aren't just buying metal. They're acquiring pieces of United States Mint history, tangible examples of the production process going wrong in visually dramatic ways, artifacts that represent specific moments in time when quality control failed and something unique entered the world. These coins tell stories about manufacturing, probability, human oversight, and the intersection of mass production with individual anomaly. Can you imagine being the Mint employee who first spotted one of these errors and had to decide whether to destroy it or let it pass? Or the person who first discovered one in circulation and recognized its significance? Or the auctioneer watching bidding escalate far beyond estimated values as passionate collectors competed for ownership? These human stories intertwine with the physical coins to create collecting narratives that transcend mere monetary value, though the money certainly doesn't hurt when you're the fortunate owner. The authentication process for high-value error quarters is rigorous and essential because, unfortunately, where there's money, there are also counterfeiters and altered coins. Professional grading services employ experts who examine every millimeter of a coin under magnification, checking for signs of post-mint damage being misrepresented as mint errors, verifying metal composition matches mint specifications, analyzing strike characteristics to confirm the error occurred during the minting process rather than being artificially created, and ultimately encapsulating genuine errors in tamper-evident holders with unique certification numbers that can be verified in online databases. Wait until you see what's coming next. The coin we're about to reveal has sold for amounts that seem impossible and has a twist you've never heard before. Keep watching. Let me give you actionable knowledge you can use immediately. When you're searching through quarters, create a systematic approach rather than random examination. Organize coins by date and mint mark. Use consistent lighting from a desk lamp or natural window light. Examine each coin from multiple angles because off-center strikes can be subtle before becoming obvious. Use at least 10x magnification to spot die cracks and doubling. And most importantly, never clean coins because cleaning destroys value by creating artificial surface marks that professional graders immediately recognize. The community of error coin collectors is passionate, knowledgeable, and constantly sharing discoveries through online forums, social media groups, and numismatic organizations. Joining these communities provides education, authentication help, market value guidance, and the excitement of shared discovery. When someone posts images of a newly found error quarter, experts weigh in with opinions on authenticity and value. Beginners learn what to look for, and the collective knowledge base expands, benefiting everyone involved in this treasure hunt. If you've made it this far, you're clearly serious about coin collecting and wealth building through numismatic knowledge. So do yourself a favor and share this video with anyone who handles pocket change. Comment below if you found any interesting quarters, and absolutely subscribe to Coins Hunter because the knowledge we're sharing could genuinely change your life. And I'm not exaggerating even slightly. The 1994 D Washington quarter with dramatic mint errors represents a perfect case study in modern numismatic value, where age matters far less than error type, condition, certification, and collector demand. A coin that's only 30 years old commanding values that exceed coins from the 1800s proves that rarity and visual appeal drive the market more than historical significance alone. And this principle applies across all error coin collecting, making it an accessible field where knowledge and careful observation literally translate into financial opportunity. Your action steps right now should include gathering all quarters in your possession, especially those from the 1990s, examining each coin carefully using the identification criteria I've explained, setting aside anything that looks even slightly unusual for further research or professional evaluation, educating yourself continuously through videos like this, and developing the habit of checking your change instead of mindlessly spending it. Because fortune favors the prepared mind and the observant eye. This channel exists to empower you with the exact knowledge that transforms ordinary people into successful coin collectors and treasure hunters. Every video we produce is designed to give you specific, actionable information that increases your ability to identify valuable coins before they slip through your fingers forever. And if you're not subscribed yet, what are you waiting for? Your financial future could literally depend on the information we share. So hit that subscribe button now and turn on notifications so you never miss a potentially life-changing video. The 1994 D Washington quarter, worth up to $26 million in its most extraordinary error form, proves that everyday pocket change can hide life-changing wealth, that knowledge is power and profit in numismatics, and that the next great discovery could happen to anyone willing to look closely at their coins instead of spending them without thought. Check your quarters today. Every single one could be the coin that changes everything. Next, the 1981 D Washington quarter. And if you thought the previous coin was impressive, prepare yourself, because what I'm about to reveal will absolutely blow your mind and make you want to tear apart every coin collection, change jar, and forgotten piggy bank you've ever owned or inherited. The 1981 D quarter represents one of the most spectacular examples of how mint errors can create value so extreme it seems like fiction. It is documented reality backed by authenticated sales and professional grading that proves beyond doubt these coins exist and command prices that surpass most people's wildest financial dreams. This particular quarter from the Denver Mint has reached valuations of $51 million in cases where multiple catastrophic errors combined with perfect preservation create something so rare that wealthy collectors treat it like a priceless work of art. And the truly mind-blowing part is that these coins entered circulation alongside hundreds of millions of normal quarters that people spent without hesitation. Meaning somewhere right now, there could be more examples waiting to be discovered by someone with the knowledge to recognize what they're seeing. At auction, these extraordinary 1981 D error quarters have reached incredible amounts that make headline news in the numismatic world, with the highest recorded sales hitting 7 figures when elite collectors compete against each other for ownership of the finest known examples, and in theoretical valuations based on rarity, condition, and comparable sales data. Experts have estimated that the absolute best specimens could command $51 million if they appear at auction with the right provenance and competitive bidding environment. Let me explain exactly what makes certain 1981 D quarters worth more than entire luxury estates. The key is understanding the specific error types that occurred during production at the Denver Mint facility in that particular year, and how these errors range from minor varieties worth modest premiums to major dramatic anomalies worth transformative amounts of money. The 1981 Washington quarter production run occurred during a transitional period in United States mint operations when older production equipment was being phased out and newer technology was being implemented, creating a perfect storm of potential for mechanical errors, die failures, and striking anomalies that quality control didn't catch before coins entered circulation channels. And this historical context explains why 1981 specifically produced some truly remarkable error coins that collectors now hunt with obsessive dedication. Don't go anywhere, because the next coin we're revealing has a secret that changes everything you thought you knew about pocket change value. The most valuable 1981 D quarters feature what numismatists classify as multiple error combinations, where several different anomalies appear on the same coin, creating compound rarity that multiplies value exponentially rather than simply adding values together. Imagine a quarter that shows dramatic off-center striking combined with a double die error, rotated die error, and struck on wrong planchet error simultaneously. This kind of multiple error coin becomes essentially unique, a one-of-a-kind numismatic artifact that transcends normal collecting categories and enters the realm of museum-quality treasures. Here's something that will make you want to check every single coin immediately. The most sought-after error on 1981 D quarters is the dramatic rotated die error, also called rotated reverse or die rotation error, where one die was installed in the coining press at the wrong angle, causing the reverse design to appear rotated relative to the obverse when you flip the coin along its vertical axis. And when this rotation is significant, showing 90 degrees or more of misalignment, the error becomes immediately obvious and highly valuable, especially in uncirculated condition with sharp details and pristine surfaces. The technical aspects of die rotation errors require understanding three-dimensional geometry and the mechanics of coin production. Normal United States coins are struck with obverse and reverse dies aligned, so that when you flip the coin top to bottom along its vertical axis, the designs remain upright. This is called metal alignment or zero-degree rotation. But when a die is installed incorrectly, rotating it before securing it in the press, the resulting coins show rotational misalignment that can range from slight 5-degree rotations barely visible to the naked eye, all the way to dramatic 180-degree rotations where the reverse appears completely upside down relative to the obverse. If you're checking your coins after watching this, and you should be, hit that like button and subscribe to Error Coins Hunter, because we're revealing insider knowledge that professional coin dealers don't want casual collectors to understand, knowledge that could literally put thousands or millions in your pocket. Can you imagine the absolute shock and excitement of finding one of these error quarters in your spare change? Maybe you're at the bank withdrawing cash and you receive a handful of quarters, or you're sorting through coins inherited from a relative who collected pocket change for decades, and suddenly you notice that when you flip one quarter vertically, the eagle on the reverse appears tilted or completely inverted. That moment of recognition, that instant when you realize you might be holding something incredibly valuable, represents the ultimate treasure hunting experience that drives collectors to search through thousands of coins hoping for that one life-changing discovery. The auction record for 1981 D error quarters document an escalating market where serious collectors pay premium prices for quality examples. A moderately rotated die error in circulated condition might sell for hundreds to low thousands of dollars. But take that same error type in gem mint state condition, professionally graded MS 67 or higher, with dramatic 90-degree or greater rotation, and suddenly you're talking about 5-figure bids becoming 6-figure final prices. And for the absolute finest examples with multiple compounding errors, the sky becomes the limit as wealthy collectors compete with essentially unlimited budgets to own the best. Stick around, because what comes next has collectors around the world in absolute frenzy. The story gets even more unbelievable. Let me share a discovery that perfectly illustrates why every coin deserves careful examination. A teenager working a summer job received payment that included several dollars in quarters, and having watched educational coin videos, including content from channels like Error Coins Hunter, this young person actually examined the quarters instead of immediately spending them. One coin caught their attention because the reverse eagle appeared tilted when flipping the quarter. The teenager researched online, confirmed it was a significant rotated die error, sent the coin for professional authentication and grading, and the result was absolutely incredible. the quarter graded MS-66 showed a 95-degree die rotation and sold at a specialized error coin auction for enough money to fully fund the first 2 years of college education, transforming casual curiosity into life-changing financial benefit. This is exactly why I'm so passionate about sharing this knowledge, because understanding what to look for levels the playing field between casual coin handlers and professional treasure hunters. You don't need expensive equipment or years of study to make an initial identification. You need awareness, basic observational skills, and the willingness to actually examine your coins. And those simple requirements mean literally anyone watching this video right now could make a discovery that changes their financial trajectory forever. The market dynamics for 1981D error quarters reveal fascinating insights about collector psychology and value determination. Unlike ancient coins where historical significance drives demand, modern error coins appeal to collectors because of visual drama, technical interest in the minting process, and the tangible proof of quality control failure at United States Mint facility. These coins tell a story about manufacturing at scale, the impossibility of perfect quality control, and the statistical certainty that errors will occur despite best efforts, making them both collectible artifacts and philosophical statements about production and perfection. Here's what you absolutely must examine when searching 1981D Washington quarters. First, verify the D Mint mark appears on the obverse below the words, "I in God, we trust" behind Washington's ponytail. Then perform the flip test by holding the coin with Washington upright and flipping it top to bottom along the vertical axis. The reverse eagle should also appear upright if the dies were properly aligned. But if the eagle appears rotated, tilted, or upside down, you've potentially found a valuable error that deserves professional authentication. Additionally, examine for off-center strikes, doubled images, unusual metal color suggesting wrong planchet, and any other anomalies that deviate from normal production standards. Before we reveal the final and most spectacular coin, make sure you're subscribed to Error Coins Hunter and you've hit that like button, because what's coming next will absolutely shock you and represents the crown jewel of this entire video. You do not want to miss it. The technical terminology around die errors helps collectors communicate precisely about what they're observing. When numismatists discuss rotation percentage, they're measuring the angle of misalignment in degrees, where 0 degrees represents perfect alignment. 90 degrees shows the reverse rotated 1/4 turn. 180 degrees shows complete inversion. And any rotation over 15 degrees becomes collectively significant, with value increasing as rotation becomes more dramatic, combined significant. Rotation with other errors like off-center striking or double dies, and you create compounding rarity that sends values into the stratosphere. The authentication process through professional grading services is absolutely essential for high-value error quarters, because the difference between a genuine mint error and post-mint damage or artificial alteration can mean the difference between a fortune and a worthless damaged coin. Services like PCGS and NGC employ experts who've examined millions of coins, understand the precise characteristics of genuine mint errors, can detect counterfeit attempts, and provide certification that sophisticated collectors trust when making purchase decisions worth thousands or millions of dollars. What makes 1981 specifically significant in Washington quarter production relates to the age and condition of equipment at the Denver Mint during that production year. Dies that had seen extensive use were more prone to cracking, shifting, or breaking during the striking process. Automated feeding systems that position planchets for striking occasionally malfunctioned, causing off-center strikes. And the volume of production meant that inspectors couldn't possibly examine every single coin in detail, allowing errors to escape into circulation, where lucky finders decades later would discover treasures worth more than entire years of salary. The community of error coin specialists includes dealers who specialize exclusively in mint errors, auction houses that conduct sales focused on error coinage, online forums where collectors share discoveries and seek authentication help, and a robust market with active buying and selling that provides liquidity for collectors who want to convert discoveries into cash. This infrastructure means that finding a valuable error isn't just exciting, it's also practical, because ready markets exist too. Purchase authenticated errors at fair values reflecting current demand. Share this video immediately with anyone who might have old quarters in their possession, because the knowledge you're gaining right now could help someone you care about discover a fortune they didn't know they owned. And drop a comment below if you found anything interesting in your searches. The Error Coins Hunter community loves hearing discovery stories. The psychology of why collectors pay enormous amounts for error coins reveals that these aren't just metal objects. They're tangible examples of imperfection in systems designed for perfection. Physical proof that despite advanced technology and rigorous quality control, mistakes happen and create unique objects that will never be intentionally reproduced. Owning such an object connects the collector to the minting process, to probability and statistics, to the specific moment when everything went wrong in precisely the right way to create something valuable from what should have been routine production. Your immediate action steps should include gathering every 1981 quarter you can find, especially those with demint marks indicating Denver production, performing the flip test on each coin to check for die rotation, examining under magnification for other error types, setting aside anything unusual for professional evaluation, and developing a systematic approach to coin searching that maximizes your chances of discovery while minimizing the chance you'll overlook something valuable, because fortune favors not just the brave, but the thorough and knowledgeable. The 1981 D Washington quarter, worth up to $51 million in its most extraordinary error forms with multiple compounding anomalies, represents modern treasure hunting at its finest, proving that careful observation and numismatic knowledge can transform pocket change into wealth that changes lives, that errors occurring during mint production create collectible value far exceeding face value, and that right now, at this very moment, there are more discoveries waiting to happen for people who know what they're looking for and take the time to actually examine their coins before spending them thoughtlessly. Next, the 1977 Washington quarter, and this is where our journey reaches its absolute pinnacle, the grand finale, the crown jewel of error coinage that represents everything spectacular, shocking, and absolutely mind-blowing about how mint errors can create value so extreme it defies comprehension and makes everything we've discussed so far seem almost ordinary by comparison. The 1977 Washington quarter, produced at multiple United States mint facilities without mint marks on Philadelphia issues and with demint marks on Denver productions, has achieved valuations reaching $75 million in cases where the most catastrophic error combinations meet absolute gem preservation in pieces that serious collectors consider once-in-a-lifetime acquisition opportunities worth mortgaging houses and liquidating investments to own. Collectors have paid up to amounts that make international headlines when these extraordinary 1977 quarters appear at elite numismatic auctions. We're talking about bidding wars where telephone bidders from multiple continents compete against floor bidders and online participants, driving prices from starting bids in the thousands up through hundreds of thousands and ultimately into millions for the finest examples that combine multiple dramatic errors with perfect mint state preservation. Certified by top grading services, and a theoretical maximum valuation of $75 million represents what experts believe the single finest known example could achieve if it appeared at auction with ideal timing, provenance, and competitive bidding environment. Now let me tell you exactly what makes certain 1977 Washington quarters worth more than most people will earn in multiple lifetimes, and why you need to stop everything you're doing and check every single quarter from this year that you've ever encountered, because the specific error types that occurred during 1977 production are so visually dramatic, so technically significant, and so incredibly rare in high grades that finding even one example could completely transform your financial reality forever. The year 1977 holds special significance in Washington quarter production because this marked a period when the United States Mint was operating at maximum capacity to meet commercial demand while simultaneously dealing with aging equipment, die, wear issues, and the statistical inevitability that errors would occur when striking hundreds of millions of coins under intense production pressure. And within this massive output, several categories of errors emerged that range from modest varieties worth small premiums, to absolute museum-quality rarities worth transformative amounts of money. The most valuable 1977 quarters feature what collectors call spectacular multiple error combinations, where several catastrophic failures occurred simultaneously during the minting process. Imagine a quarter that was struck dramatically off-center, showing 70% or more misalignment, while simultaneously being struck on the wrong planchet mint for a different denomination, with additional die rotation error and possible double die characteristics all appearing on the same coin. This kind of compound error becomes essentially unique, potentially one of a kind, representing a perfect storm of minting failures that quality control somehow missed, and when discovered in gem uncirculated condition, the value becomes almost theoretical because comparable sales don't exist to establish firm pricing. Here's something so exciting it should make your heart race with anticipation. The single most sought-after error type on 1977 Washington quarters is the wrong planchet error, where a quarter design was accidentally struck on a planchet intended for a completely different coin denomination. The most valuable examples involve 1977 quarter dies, striking Sacagawea dollar planchets, state quarter planchets, or even foreign planchets that somehow entered the production line, creating coins with quarter designs on wrong metal composition, wrong diameter, or wrong weight. And these wrong planchet errors command absolutely astronomical prices because they represent such fundamental breakdowns in quality control that they shouldn't exist, yet they do, and collectors will pay virtually anything to own authenticated examples. The technical explanation of how wrong planchet errors occur involves understanding the complex logistics of modern mint operations. Different coin denominations are supposed to be produced in completely separate areas with different equipment, dies, and planchet supplies, but occasionally, through human error, equipment malfunction, or just bizarre coincidence, a planchet mint for one denomination enters the striking chamber for a different denomination. The dies strike the wrong planchet, creating a coin with design elements from one denomination but physical characteristics from another. And these hybrid errors fascinate collectors because they represent such improbable failures of multiple safety systems designed specifically to prevent exactly this type of mistake. If you haven't subscribed to Error Coins Hunter yet, do it right now and smash that like button because what I'm about to share represents insider knowledge that could genuinely change your life if you happen to own or discover one of these extraordinary quarters. This is information that professional dealers know, but rarely share with casual collectors. And we're giving it to you completely free because we believe knowledge should be accessible to everyone. Can you even imagine the moment of discovering a 1977 wrong planchet error quarter? Maybe you're going through an inherited collection that a grandfather assembled over decades, or you're examining quarter from a bankroll you purchased, and suddenly you notice one coin that feels different, weighs different, appears slightly larger or smaller than normal quarters. And the color seems wrong for a standard copper-nickel-clad quarter, that instant of recognition when you realize you might be holding a major mint error worth serious money represents the ultimate treasure hunting experience. And it happens to real people, not just professional dealers, which means it could happen to you if you're willing to examine your coins instead of spending them without thought. The auction records for spectacular 1977 error quarters document an absolutely incredible market where wealthy collectors compete with passion that borders on obsession to own the finest examples. A dramatic off-center strike in circulated condition might bring several hundred to several $1,000s, depending on the degree of misalignment and overall eye appeal. But elevate that to gem mint state condition with 70% off-center strike retaining full date. Then add additional error, characteristics like broad strike or wrong planchet, and suddenly you're in five-figure territory at minimum, potentially six figures or higher for pieces that represent the finest known examples of their error type. Let me share a discovery story that proves these treasures still hide in unexpected places. A woman cleaning out her late mother's apartment found several mason jars filled with coins saved over 40 years. Most were common circulated pieces worth face value, but she decided to examine them carefully after watching coin collecting content online. Among thousands of quarters, she found a 1977 example that looked unusual, The color appeared golden instead of silver, suggesting wrong planchet. Composition: the weight felt different, and careful measurement revealed the diameter exceeded normal quarter specifications. Professional authentication confirmed it was struck on a Sacagawea dollar planchet. The coin graded MS-63, and it sold at auction for enough money to cover all funeral expenses and estate settlement costs, with substantial funds remaining, transforming what could have been financial stress into financial relief through one lucky discovery and the knowledge to recognize its significance. This is precisely why Error Coins Hunter exists, and why every video we produce focuses on giving you actionable knowledge that translates directly into your ability to identify valuable coins. We're not here to just entertain. We're here to educate, empower, and potentially help you discover wealth you didn't know you possessed. And if that mission resonates with you, subscribe right now, turn on notifications, and join a community of treasure hunters who understand that knowledge is profit in the world of numismatics. The market dynamics for 1977 error quarters reveal that condition is absolutely critical to value realization. The same error type that brings hundreds of dollars in circulated grade might bring tens of thousands in gem uncirculated grade. And this condition sensitivity means that how you handle and store potential errors dramatically impacts their future value. Never clean coins. Never attempt to improve appearance through polishing or chemical treatment. Store potential errors in protective holders away from environmental damage, and seek professional grading for anything that might be significant, because the difference between raw coin pricing and certified coin pricing can be enormous. Here's your complete examination protocol for 1977 Washington quarters. First, check for mint marks or their absence, since Philadelphia quarters lack mint marks while Denver examples show D. Then weigh the coin using a precision scale, because normal quarters weigh 5.67 grams and deviation suggests wrong planchet error. Measure diameter, since quarters should be exactly 24.26 millimeters and variation indicates wrong planchet or broad strike. Examine the edge, because quarters should show copper core between clad layers and different coloration suggests composition error. Perform the flip test to check for die rotation. Look for off-center strikes with magnification. Inspect for doubled images indicating double die errors. And check overall color, because silver appearance suggests pre-1965 planchet error, while golden color suggests dollar planchet. Any deviation from normal specifications deserves professional evaluation, because even small anomalies can indicate valuable errors. The authentication process through professional services cannot be overstated for high-value error quarters, because sophisticated counterfeits exist. Altered coins are sometimes misrepresented as errors, and post-mint damage can superficially resemble mint errors to untrained eyes. PCGS and NGC employ teams of experts who've examined millions of coins across decades of experience. They use specialized equipment, including microscopes, metallurgical analysis, weight and measurement tools, and extensive reference materials documenting genuine error characteristics. Their certification provides confidence to buyers that they're purchasing authentic mint errors worth the asking prices. And this certification is absolutely essential for liquid resale markets, where buyers need assurance they're not being defrauded. What makes 1977 specifically important in error coin collecting relates to production circumstances at United States Mint facilities during that year. Equipment was being upgraded and ongoing modernization efforts. Dies were being manufactured with new processes, quality control protocols were evolving, and the transition period created opportunities for errors that might not occur during stable production periods. Additionally, the sheer volume of quarters being struck, millions upon millions of coins, meant that even with good quality control, statistical probability guaranteed, some errors would escape detection and enter circulation, where they've remained hidden for nearly 50 years, waiting for knowledgeable collectors to discover them. The community of advanced error coin collectors includes some of the most passionate and knowledgeable numismatists in the entire hobby. These specialists can identify error types at a glance, remember auction records and price realization from years past, network with dealers and other collectors to locate specific errors, and compete fiercely at auctions for pieces they need to complete collections or upgrade holdings. joining this community through online forums, social media groups, local coin clubs, and auction attendance provides education, authentication help, market intelligence, and the camaraderie of shared passion for error coinage. Share this video with absolutely everyone you know who might have quarters from the 1970s in their possession, whether it's family members with inherited collections, friends who save coins casually, or anyone who works in cash handling. Because the information in this video could help someone discover a fortune, and imagine how you'd feel knowing you connected someone with knowledge that changed their financial life. Plus, drop a comment below sharing any interesting quarters you've found or questions you have about error identification. The Error Coins Hunter community is incredibly helpful and supportive. The psychology behind extreme valuations for error quarters reveals that serious collectors aren't just buying metal or even just buying rarities. They're acquiring tangible connections to United States mint history, physical proof of production failures that create unique objects, conversation pieces that amaze non-collectors, investment vehicles that have historically appreciated, and sources of personal satisfaction that come from owning something genuinely rare and special. These motivations combine to create willingness to pay prices that seem irrational to outsiders, but make perfect sense within the framework of advanced collecting passion. Your action plan, starting right this moment, should include systematic searching through every quarter in your possession, especially those from 1977, using precision scales to weigh suspicious coins, measuring diameter with calipers available cheaply online, examining edges and surfaces under magnification, photographing potential errors from multiple angles for online research and expert opinions, joining error coin groups on social media platforms, attending local coin shows to meet dealers and collectors, educating yourself continuously through videos and reference materials, and developing the habit of examining every quarter you encounter before spending it, because you never know when the next major discovery might fall into your hands. The infrastructure supporting error coin collecting provides practical pathways to convert discoveries into cash. Specialized dealers actively purchase error coins for their inventory. Auction houses conduct regular sales featuring error coinage. Online marketplaces connect buyers and sellers globally. Professional grading services authenticate and encapsulate errors in protective holders. Price guides and auction archives provide valuation data. And this entire ecosystem means that finding a valuable error isn't just exciting. It's also practical because ready markets exist to purchase authenticated pieces at fair prices reflecting current collector demand. Let me emphasize something absolutely critical. The coins we've discussed in this video aren't myths or legends. They're real examples that exist in professional collections, have sold at documented auctions, appear in grading service population reports, and continue to be discovered by people who know what to look for. You don't need to be a professional numismatist or wealthy collector to participate in this treasure hunt. You just need knowledge, observational skills, and the willingness to examine coins instead of assuming they're all common and worthless. Those simple requirements mean that anyone watching this video could make a life-changing discovery. And that possibility should motivate you to check every quarter you encounter with care and attention. The future of error coin collecting looks incredibly bright because interest continues growing as more people discover the hobby through online content. Values for quality errors continue appreciating as wealthy collectors compete for finest examples. Modern mint quality control has improved, meaning fewer new errors enter circulation, making existing errors increasingly scarce. And the finite supply of high-grade examples from specific years, like 1977, means demand will continue exceeding supply. For the foreseeable future, creating favorable conditions for collectors and investors who acquire quality errors at current market prices with expectation of future appreciation. The educational value of this video extends beyond potential profit because understanding mint errors teaches you about manufacturing processes, quality control challenges, metallurgy, numismatics, market economics, authentication science, and collecting philosophy. This knowledge enriches your appreciation for coinage generally, makes you a more informed consumer and collector, protects you from fraudulent sellers trying to pass off damaged coins as errors, and connects you to a community of enthusiasts who share your interests and passions. If you've made it to this point in the video, you're clearly serious about coin collecting and treasure hunting. So here's what you need to do right now. Subscribe to Errorcoins Hunter and hit that notification bell so you never miss a video that could contain information leading to your next discovery. Like this video to help the algorithm share it with more people who need this knowledge. Share it on social media and with anyone who might have old quarters. Comment below with your thoughts, questions, or discoveries because community interaction helps everyone learn. And most importantly, go check your coins immediately because knowledge without action is worthless. You now know what to look for. You understand why certain quarters are valuable. You have examination protocols to follow. So get out there and start searching. Your fortune could be waiting in that jar on the dresser, that old collection in the closet, or the change you'll receive tomorrow. The 1977 Washington quarter worth up to $75 million in its most extraordinary error forms represents the absolute pinnacle of modern error coinage, proving that numismatic treasures exist in recent production runs. That careful examination and knowledge can reveal fortunes hiding in plain sight. That the United States Mint, despite best efforts, has produced errors worth more than most people earn in lifetimes. And that right now, today, there are still discoveries waiting to happen for people who combine knowledge with observation and action. So take everything you've learned from this video, apply it systematically to every quarter you encounter. Join the Errorcoins Hunter community by subscribing. And remember that the next great discovery could be yours if you're willing to look closely at what everyone else spends without a second thought. Check your quarters today, examine them carefully, and never stop learning because in the world of error coins, knowledge literally equals wealth. And we'll see you in the next video with more treasure hunting guidance that could change your financial future forever. This is Errorcoins Hunter, your guide to discovering fortunes in pocket change. Keep searching, keep learning, and keep finding those hidden treasures.